What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this Friday morning, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into another episode here of the Arizona Sports Fan. Big shout out to the people that are already in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We can't start the show without Michael, Vanessa, no F's given, Victor, Arizona Brawl. What's up, everybody? Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I absolutely do appreciate it. Yo, we have a fun-filled show for you guys today. We're going to talk about, obviously, Lou Anarumo meeting with the Arizona Cardinals today. We got some news pertaining to Mike Kafka. And on top of that, I want to dive into the Sean Payton controversy that's going on with. There was a report that came out that said that Sean Payton didn't want to come to the Arizona Cardinals because of Kyler Murray. Now, that was all squashed. That was all kind of clarified by Sean Payton. Now, there was a report that kind of came out that said that, Sean Payton didn't want to come to Arizona because of the QB. Kyler Murray, but now Sean Payton came out and actually clarified it. So we're going to be diving into what exactly Sean Payton said. And one of the main reasons why we're talking about that is because there's so much hate. There's so much negativity around our quarterback, Kyler Murray. And I'm not trying to sell anybody on Kyler. Like, it's your opinion, right? Now, here's the truth of the matter. I just want to bring you guys what I heard so you guys can make your own opinion on the whole situation. So hopefully it could shine some light pertaining to, what Sean Payton said, try to clarify the whole situation. And obviously we're going to talk about Lou Anarumo, Mike Kafka, any news, all that different stuff. Because ladies and gentlemen, I'm hoping that by next week we are going to find out the new head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm excited, right? I think it's long overdue for a lot of Arizona Cardinal fans. We're just waiting. We're waiting at this very moment. We're just, I just can't believe we are here right now. Like, we have a week away. I'm sorry. We have 2 days away from the Super Bowl. I don't know why I said a week. We have 2 days away from the Super Bowl, and we still don't have a head coach, which is absolutely wild. But I do know that Monty Osenfort and Michael Bidwell did say that they are going to leave no stones unturned, and here we are, right? Here we are. So definitely do me a huge favor. I got a question for you guys in the chat. We have a big game coming our way, and it is Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Eagles versus the Chiefs. Who do you guys got? Let me know in the chat below. Do you guys got Eagles or do you got the Chiefs? Let me know in the chat. I hope it's a really good game. That's all I care about. I hope it's a really good game because I'm going to be eating a lot of chicken wings, some burgers, got some family coming over. So I'm really excited about, the big game coming up, this coming weekend. Now, one quick shout out here real quick to Underdog Fantasy. Go ahead and download the app today. Use promo code AZSF and you are able to go ahead and get your deposit matched up to $100 by using promo code AZSF. But let's dive right into it here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's first talk about Sean Payton, right? Let's get this storyline out of the way. Now, I did post a video about, titling, Sean Payton didn't come to, the Arizona Cardinals because of Kyler Murray. So I want to make sure that I actually start off with the Sean Payton news first. So hopefully we can, get this stigma, get this, mindset out of people's minds. So this is going to be Sean Payton talking to, I forgot what her name was, but basically, Kay Adams. So basically this is a part of her podcast called Up and Adams. And this is going to be a segment talking with Sean Payton and trying to clarify what exactly went on and what Terry Bradshaw ended up saying about what Sean Payton said, right? So let's dive right into it.
You can ask me. The internet is telling me that you hate Kyler Murray. No, I don't hate Kyler Murray. Can we get into this and just clear the record? What is going on? Why does the internet think you hate Kyler Murray? Did you lose in a game of Madden to him?
No, I would lose any video. I would lose any video game to him except Pong. I think
Except Pong.
I would have an advantage in that game.
Why?
Yeah, because it was the OG. It was original. And
I hear you for you're good at Pong.
Well, I would just have an advantage at Pong because he probably has never played it.
Okay.
I have.
Got it.
Air hockey. I would beat him in air hockey.
You'd beat him in air hockey?
Yeah, in ping
what
pong.
are you best at outside of being an offensive mastermind?
What am I best at?
Yeah.
I'm pretty funny.
What could you beat everybody in? No, I'm saying like Olympic medal in what? Air hockey?
No, I think I throw the javelin pretty well.
You throw the javelin pretty well.
There's a lot of beating around the bush. Sorry.
I couldn't tell you what a javelin even is.
It's that long stick.
Okay, back to Kyler Murray. What did Kyler Murray ever do to you?
Well, nothing. I like Kyler Murray. My son is his biggest fan. After the interview, my son sent me a combination, like all his high school throws, college throws. I think the other day Terry Bradshaw was interviewed. And so I love Terry. Like, that group that I work with has been amazing.
I can tell you love them.
But when Terry gets interviewed, like, you just go, You hold your breath.
Okay.
Because you don't know what's going to come out. And I think from Terry's perspective, I know that he would have felt better if I was coming back to Fox. And so there wasn't going to be anyone good enough in his eyes for me. He was going to look at it like, he's not going there. He's not going to go there. He's not going there. And I saw him last night, and I'm like, Terry, I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate you waiting till after my press conference to completely blow this story up. But no, I think he's extremely talented. And I think they have some of the same challenges there that we have in Denver. I think they're very similar challenges. Culture in the building has to be better. It just does. 2 young coaches,
Of course,
got away from them. It happens. And so I think knowing Michael Bidwell and he and I spent 7 hours.
Oh, really?
In the interview process. I was a ball boy for that team.
Really?
Yeah, back when they were the St. Louis
I mean,
Cardinals.
it's when you're looking at ownership groups, it's consistency, generations, legacy, ownership.
His father, when I worked for the Cardinals, they were training at Eastern Illinois. They were the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
So that was where I went to college. And so my first couple of years, like I was part of the towel and dorm details.
it's almost over, I promise.
Yeah.
And then later on, I got a field assignment, got to eat with the team. And Michael's similar age to me. I think we're a year apart. Anyway, so I'm very familiar with that organization.
So why not Arizona?
There was a different fit in Denver. Arizona was fantastic. Like I said, the interview was great. Obviously, it's a great place to live, right? I mean, but I think this gets back to what we were discussing 2 minutes ago. I think my instincts were pushing me in a direction with Denver. When the process began, at 9 a.m. LA time on the 17th, that's the first day I could interview. There they were. And we spent 4.5 hours then.
Okay, and it's over there. Sorry, it's a lot of beating around the bush. So I gave you guys 3 minutes of a lot of and I apologize about that. It was very hard to try to clip the specific things that Sean Payton was saying about Kyler Murray, because it was literally sporadic, right? It was so sporadic. It was 3.5 minutes of just like blah 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 blah. Obviously, Sean Payton kind of beating around the bush, but essentially what he's saying, right? And I think Kay Adams did a very good job and try to kind of push him, and be like, okay, well, let's get back on topic, right? Now, she's a little bit of a sporadic as well. So, but she did do a good job in trying to keep him in the direction of Kyler Murray. And he's basically saying that it's not the fact that Kyler Murray wasn't his choice. I think what it came down to was that the Broncos have Wally World money, like legit. The Broncos is with the new ownership group that owns Walmart. And I think they were going to offer him more money per year. That, and he also did mention at the later part of the interview, is the fact that the Broncos were one of the first ones to kind of reach out to him in terms of when he can be available to speak to somebody. Like, they were one of the first ones out there. Now, yes, I'm glad he actually brought that up, because to me, I'm like, okay, well, I thought that was actually important as well, right? That's why I wanted so badly for Cliff Kingsbury to not wait till the end of the year. Now, I get what Michael Bidwell does, right? I get this point is really irrelevant, but I think it comes down to Sean Payton getting paid more with the Denver Broncos. Now, he did mention the fact where Terry Bradshaw comes in on an interview, sometimes he has to hold his breath, right? Because we don't truly know what Terry Bradshaw is going to say. Like, literally, this man said some really weird things, right? He actually said that, didn't he say something about Kyler Murray should kill himself on a Fox broadcast or something like that? I don't think he meant it, but sometimes it's just it's a lot of vomit comes out of Terry Bradshaw's mouth. Now, no disrespect to him. Obviously, he had a very wonderful career within the NFL, and he does really good things at Fox as well. But sometimes when he just spews really weird things, and I think this is kind of one of those situations as well, he probably did want Sean Payton to come back to Fox, so he probably worded it in a way where he didn't mean it. But also, I do blame the person who actually tweeted that main tweet out there that says, oh, well, Sean Payton didn't want to come to the Arizona Cardinals because of the quarterback, right? He didn't actually say that, right? It seemed like Terry Bradshaw was the one that was kind of really speaking for Sean Payton. So I hope that clarifies a lot of stuff. Now, granted, if you did make it through that 3.5 minute interview between Kay Adams and Sean Payton, Trust me, it was pretty hard for me to get through it as well. I don't really like to listen to what Sean Payton has to say, right? I mean, he's going to be with the Broncos. He's no longer with the Arizona Cardinals, so I can really care less. I hope nothing but his downfall. I'm just kidding, right? I'm just joking. But honestly, it's irrelevant. But I do think it was very important to kind of get that out there, because that big narrative out there is that nobody wants to come because of Kyler Murray. And I do believe that there is some coaches out there that has that mindset, right? That they don't want to come here because of that. But there is people out there that just kind of want to stay where they're at, right? Homes, families, it's a lot to come into play here. So I hope that clarifies anything pertaining to Sean Payton, but there's that big storyline. I hope it does help out, and hopefully it gets debunked. So let's move on over to topics here. I want to talk about Lou Anarumo today, ladies and gentlemen. We do got an interview today with Lou Anarumo. I believe it is going to be a Zoom session with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I was told that the Arizona Cardinals at this very moment is staying, or I guess the final two candidates for the Arizona Cardinals is going to be Mike Kafka and Lou Anarumo. Now, I know there is some kind of rumors and speculations out there, or, people saying that there might be more people coming into play next week, because obviously once the Super Bowl is over, they kind of leave some interpretation for maybe a Jonathan Gannon and Eric Bieniemy, which I don't think, but Eric Bieniemy, Shane Steichen, anything like that, right? So there's people out there that want to kind of throw a Hail Mary out there and throw that prediction out there that the Arizona Cardinals aren't quite done in doing the full interview process. Now, to me, at one point, I think we talked about this on a couple streams back. I was like, yeah, well, at this point, what's 2 more days, right? Because the Arizona Cardinals are literally 2 days away from the Super Bowl, and we still don't have a head coach. It's wild. But I think it's obviously very important for us to get the right person. Definitely very important for us to get the right person. So I think that's why it is taking as long as it's taking. But we also got to keep in mind that Monty Osenfor is a brand new spanking GM. He's never been a GM before, right? And on top of that, the Super Bowl is held here in Arizona. Do you know how many different events Michael Bidwill is tied up into because of the Super Bowl here being here in Arizona? So I think there is a big delay that's going on with our head coaching. I'm not saying that's the sole purpose. I don't think so, but I think it's a lot to play into it, right? The Super Bowl's here. He's got a lot of foundations to kind of meet to. And let's be honest, Michael Bidwill wants to be involved. Whether you guys want it or not, he might have too much of a hands in the cookie jar, but I think he wants to be involved. And I think that might be why we're kind of here in this situation right now, right? We're 2 days away from the Super Bowl and we still don't have our head coach. So right now, I think it's kind of boiling down to the 2 people that we have second interviews with, and that's going to be Mike Kafka as well as Lou Anarumo. Now, there was a report that ended up coming out earlier this morning pertaining to Kafka. Now, Kafka was in the running for the Colts position as well. Now, there was a report coming from Jeremy Fowler that says this: Colts have begun narrowing down the field. Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, a finalist in AZ, is out of the running in Indy per source, as is Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan and Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martingale, per Mike Silver. So with this report coming out here, I guess we don't have to fear, right? In terms of Arizona Cardinal fans, if it does come down to these 2 candidates, Mike Kafka or Lou Anarumo, they're still available, because at one point, Mike Kafka was seeming to be, a candidate with the Colts. But I think that he was already made aware that, hey, no longer, bro. Like, you're no longer, in the more narrow spot. So now Kafka being one of the finalists, as well as Lou Anarumo being one of the finalists, I don't think we really have too much to kind of worry about, right? It's more of the waiting game at this very moment. Now, next week, can we start seeing more names appear, right? Possibly, right? We can always lean on the possibility of maybe a Jonathan Gannon. Now, we did come out and hear Jonathan Gannon actually say he's not going anywhere, right? We heard him say that. I believe it was after the 49ers game. But, there's always going to be speculations. There's always going to be rumors out there. But as of right now, I'm only going to go ahead and go with the facts that we know of right now. And there's 2 people left in the running that has had second interviews. Well, we don't know if Lou Anarumo has quite taken place yet, but it's supposed to happen today. So Mike Kafka and Lou Anarumo is going to be the 2 finalists for the Arizona Cardinals to possibly be the next head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Adam Schefter did come out, I believe it was on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, saying that the Arizona Cardinals were not going to hire anybody this week, but they were going to aim for somebody next week. So if we're leaning into an Adam Schefter's report, right, and not only Adam Schefter, but also John Gabadoro of 98.7 here in local Arizona, they also did say that Tuesday is going to be when they're going to announce it. So if we're going to be leaning into that, I don't really see a Jonathan Gannon, right? I don't really see an Eric Bieniemy, and I also don't really see a Shane Steichen unless a Hail Mary's thrown out there and those reports don't kind of come to fruition. Maybe they do want to listen to a little bit more because they're not completely 100% sold on Kafka and Anarumo. But as of right now, it's the waiting game, right? I think for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, this week. And it just kind of became weeks on weeks on weeks, and we just never really kind of figure out who our head coach of the Arizona Cardinals is. Now, if you're going to give me these two options, I think they both have their own perks, right? I think they both have their own perks amongst themselves. If we talk about Mike Kafka, the first thing you think about him, obviously an offensive-minded head coach, but that has also worked with, Daniel Jones, kind of got his career back into a not a laughable, career. He's looking to really, turning around things, and the Giants are now in talks about possibly extending him. Now, not only that, but he's also worked with Mahomes, right? And obviously that makes a lot of people excited, right? Because Mahomes is probably the next, I hate saying the word, but the next GOAT, right? The next big quarterback out there that's going to be always involved, always in the play for the next Super Bowl. So that makes people excited, right? That Kafka is one of the finalists for the Arizona Cardinals, but there's also Lou Anarumo, right? Now, Lou Anarumo has been very, very spoken about very, very highly with a few national people, right? His name hasn't been put out there unless the Arizona Cardinals reached out to him, because I don't think anybody's really reached out to him other than the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm very curious to figure out how this is going to shake out. Kafka seems to be a little bit more, what's the word? I guess desired, right? I would put it that way, because he's had multiple different interviews with multiple different teams, where Lou Anarumo's had really only an interview with the Arizona Cardinals. So really, depending on how you're going to look at it, I like Anarumo just because of what we're hearing from not only like the national media, but also, Bengals fans come onto my videos and say a lot of good things about Lou Anarumo and his defensive mind. So honestly, it's kind of up to interpretation at this very moment, right? I think it does come down to those two candidates, unless a Hail Mary's thrown, somehow next week. But that's kind of what we're looking for, at least as of right now. Let's take a look to see what a couple comments say. What's up, Ian? He says, Lou Anarumo paired with Eric Bieniemy at offensive coordinators. Sheesh. Dude, let me tell you this right now. I ended up putting a tweet. I believe it was sometime this week. I know it was before Aviro ended up going away. I said I would be very happy with head coach Lou Anarumo and offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Now, every single time I mention Eric Bieniemy's name, and I promise you, we might have somebody in the chat say this. I promise you, it happens every single time. Somebody always says, why would Eric Bieniemy leave the Kansas City Chiefs to go to poverty franchise Arizona Cardinals, right? Like, let's wait, right? Let's wait. I'm pretty sure somebody in the chat's going to say it, because it almost always happens. Every single time we talk about Eric Bieniemy, somebody says that. Now, let me clarify this again. And I say this every single time I talk about Eric Bieniemy. There was a report that came out that said that Eric Bieniemy is in strong. There's some strong interest for Eric Bieniemy to leave the Kansas City Chiefs to do his offensive coordinating elsewhere. And the biggest reason as to why is because nobody sees Eric Bieniemy as a potential head coach when he's stuck in the Chiefs. Nobody does, right? Because Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Nobody does. So what is Eric Bieniemy going to do? He's going to do a career move. He's going to want to leave to another team to prove to teams that he is head coaching material. That's just kind of what he needs to do. Now, I respect it. I respect the grind and what he wants to do, right? I mean, at this very moment, it's just kind of the waiting game. That's one of the main reasons why I constantly say Eric Bieniemy as a possible offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals can be real. Now, I did see a report coming out saying that Eric Bieniemy's name has been linked with the Ravens, and it seems like a real strong possibility that he might end up with the Ravens. But don't be shocked and don't be surprised if Eric Bieniemy leaves the Chiefs. And it's not because he doesn't like the rings. It doesn't mean because he doesn't like, Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid. It's quite the opposite. I mean, he's looking for his best interest. And as of right now, Eric Bieniemy staying with that organization, a lot of people don't see Eric Bieniemy as a potential head coach because they can't see past Mahomes. They can't see past Andy Reid. So hopefully that clarifies. I'm surprised nobody in the chat said anything about, why would he leave the Kansas City Chiefs? That's the reason. That's the main reason why I would love to see and give him an opportunity, because it's not like you could hire a offensive coordinator and don't feel like you're tied to him, right? So you can bring him in, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? Head coach is completely different. They like to kind of give him 2, 3, 4 years because it's a process. So if they were to do something like that, I think there would be a level of confidence in the, Arizona Cardinals organization. Because let's be honest, you bring in Mike Kafka, right, an offensive mind, or Lou Anarumo, defensive mind, just really depending on how you're going to look at this, right? Depending on how this is going to play out. But also bring in an offensive coordinator like Eric Bieniemy, somebody that wants to prove his worth, somebody that wants to prove himself as the next great head coach candidate. You're betting on a guy that's going to do everything in his power to become the next head coach. Honestly, that's a recipe for success to me, right? Unless he's just not good, then obviously the team who decides to sign him gets bit in the butt. But honestly, I would bank my buck on somebody that's really willing to prove his worth and trying to be the next head coach. I'm willing to bank my buck on that. Now, at this very moment, right, Lou Anarumo and Mike Kafka seems to be the only two candidates right now for the Arizona Cardinals. But like I said a little earlier, next week, if there is other names that pop up out of nowhere, right? If like Shefty reports it, or Ian Rappaport reports it, or anybody else in the big national media, then at that point we can, kind of talk speculations of, hey, maybe this guy or maybe this guy. But as of right now, I'm only going to stick to the facts. And right now we have two candidates that had coached 2 interviews with the Arizona Cardinals, one being Kafka and the other one being Anarumo. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to talk about any other names because we don't know. It's just speculations at this very moment, at least the way I like to look at it. Let's take a look at the chat. What's up, Steven? He says, Hard Knocks shows the proof that the Cardinals don't care. Hard Knocks shows the proof that the Cardinals don't care. I don't... Maybe elaborate a little bit more, Steven, just on that comment, because I'm a little confused. To me, the proving that they care is the fact that Michael Bidwell fired 2 people that were on extension, right? Now, granted, he was the one who provided those extensions. Now, I think Michael Bidwell does care. I think Michael Bidwell does want to win, personally. If he didn't care, then he would have kept them. Because let's be honest here, right? I don't think that Michael Bidwell truly wants to, how am I trying to phrase this? I think Michael Bidwell wants to win. I truly do think he wants to win. Now, what fans want, obviously, it's probably not, he probably doesn't care too much what fans want, but the moment it starts affecting his pockets, right? The moment that we start seeing people like season ticket holders not renewing, tickets not being sold, Cardinal fans not going to these games, that's when he really starts paying attention, right? That's when he really, really starts paying attention. So I do believe that Michael Bidwell does want to win, though. I think he does, and that's why he made this move. Now, did it hurt the fact that Cardinals weren't showing up to games? Yeah, absolutely. I've been to, was it 5 or 6 games this last year? I think it was like 5 or 6 games this last year, and I kid you not, if we weren't overrun in State Farm Stadium by the opposing team, we had a lot of empty seats. And you're not going to see a lot of those empty seats if you're sitting in the lower level. Granted, my season tickets were on the very, very top level. So I was sitting like Hawkeye. So I'm able to see everything, the entire, stadium. And there was a lot of empty seats up there in the 400s and even in the suite levels too. It's a lot of empty seats. So of course, owners, look to that. They look to that. They see that type of stuff. And if it's not going good, they're going to make a very harsh, rash decision. And that was, letting go of the coach and the GM, which was probably something that you should have done a while ago. But I think he cares. I think he cares. Okay, well, here goes. Steven with the clarification. He says, what I mean by that is when Cliff was... Oh, okay. Yes, I get what you mean. When Cliff was speaking to everyone in at least 3 of the episodes, player was on their... No, exactly. Oh, facts. Oh, facts. Oh, yeah, so you're talking about in a player stand. Oh, 100%. 100%. No, you're right on the head there, Steven. Right on the head. Because honestly, I think in the grand scheme of things, whether a lot of people want to believe it or not, Cliff Kingsbury lost his locker room, right? During Hard Knocks, you definitely could tell that he did everything he possibly can to save face. And you got to give him credit for that, right? He was there, right? He was there. Cliff Kingsbury was there to try to make this ship right. But the thing is that it was too far gone. It was way too far gone at that very moment. Players didn't care, right? They didn't care. It was just another Sunday. They're going to get paid anyways. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we heard Monty Ossenfort come out saying things like, we want to make sure that we bring in the right players, right? We're not trying to accumulate talent. We want to bring in the right talent, right? We want to bring the people that want to succeed and not just trying to collect that paycheck. So I'm excited. I'm truly am. I think this is something that we needed, right? I think this is something that we needed as Arizona Cardinal fans and just Arizona sports fans just in general. Now, if you guys don't know, I did make a video yesterday. My podcast yesterday was about the Suns. Now, that's kind of one of the most lingering comments that I've had very long, right? Where a lot of people were like, you seem to be you should change your name to the AZ Cardinal fan, not the AZ sports fan. Now, at one point, I did try to cover all the teams. It's very hard. Let me be honest. It's very, very hard to do what I do and try to maintain your personal life because it's so many teams. You can't be an expert at everything, right? You really can't. You can study and study and study. But definitely big shout out to everybody that watched that KD video. I truly do appreciate it. That only means to me that people do actually care about the Suns and they want to see that type of content. So I appreciate you guys for coming through. Thanks for smacking the like button because that actually helps me analyze what you guys actually want to see. So I appreciate it. Now, obviously, KD to the Suns is huge news, so I obviously had to cover it. So, yeah, let's continue on this Arizona Cardinal topic because that's what everybody's here for. I got some people in the chat saying the Coyotes. We'll see, man. We'll see. TBD, man. TBD at this very moment. AZ Cards, Cliff was not a real head coach. Let's not kid ourselves. No, and yeah, you're right. But that's the thing. Like, it's hindsight, right? It's hindsight. You don't know how long I was saying this, right? And not just me. There was a lot of Cardinal fans that were saying this exact thing. And unfortunately, people don't see what you see until it happens, right? Now, after year 2, I knew he wasn't the coach for the Arizona Cardinals, or at least a coach to get us a Super Bowl. Was he a likable person? Oh, heck yeah. Could I get a beer with him, right? Can we have a great conversation? Does he seem very intellectual? Yeah, absolutely. Cliff Kingsbury seemed to be a very, very stand-up guy. And I mean a very, very good guy. He seemed to be, right? But a head coach, he just wasn't cut up for that type of job. And it didn't help that he had a rookie quarterback coming in, right? With him being a rookie head coach, right? And on top of that, he wanted to take on a lot more responsibility. So that didn't help either. But let's get to this contribution. What's up, Michael? Appreciate the super chat. He says, saw a Buda Baker interview. He said head coach like 4 times. Saw a Buda Baker interview. He said head coach like 4 times. I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means, but maybe you can clarify. You're okay. I got this other comment here. He says he really wants a head coach now. We all do. We all do, right? I think every Arizona Cardinal fan feels that same way, right? Now, some people are a little bit more patient, right? Some people are a little bit more patient, but honestly, we all do. Every single one of us, everybody in the chat that tunes in, right, for these coverages is for that simple reason that we do want our head coach, right? Now, I know I've been one of the guys that says, oh, yeah, right, well, this is what they're saying, right? But I don't like the timeline. I truly don't. I don't like the timeline and what's going on. I would rather know our head coach a week ago. Because if you think about it, if we knew that our head coach a week ago, this storyline of Kyler Murray would not be coming out. I promise you. Arizona Cardinals aren't doing Kyler Murray any favors, right? Now it leaves the interpretation out there. Now it leaves these headlines to come out saying things like, oh, right? It leaves for interpretation for these headlines to come out saying, oh, nobody wants to be, the Arizona Cardinals head coach because they're taking as long as they are. Nobody's talking about the Colts. The Colts are in the same boat as we are. We're trying to find the right guy. Now, like I said a little earlier, I would rather us have gotten our head coach a week or two ago. Biggest reason that's why, A, we're not going to hear the storylines of Kyler Murray, and B, man, we got the combine, we got the draft, we got free agency, we got so many things. We got so many things to discuss, right? And you need to bring in this new head coach in. You want him to talk to the players, you want him to do all these things, but we've now confined him to come in here and play the speed game, right? So we got so many things coming our way. So I agree. I would rather us get our coach sooner rather than later, for facts. No F. Skimmons says Ertz and Connor were backing K1 in an interview. Exactly. That's what we want to hear, right? That's exactly what we want to hear. And that's the thing. National media will not cover that. I promise you. They're going to tell you things like, oh my God, the Arizona Cardinals are taking as long as we're taking because of Kyler Murray. That's what people are going to go out there and say. And any other fan that's out there that is not Cardinal fans, they're going to believe it, right? They're going to believe into that narrative. And it's unfortunate. It really is. Because I agree, Kyler Murray is not the most bubbly guy in the world, right? But that's his persona. That's his personality. You can't knock his personality. What's up, Steven? Appreciate the contribution. He says, thank you for the heads up and thank you for the best Cardinal shout out, the respect. But I appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much. Yeah, this is what I do, man. Honestly, I tell you like it is, right? And sometimes, there's some people out there that they don't agree with me, right? And that's fine. I don't do this to try to convince anybody that I'm right, because I'm not right a lot of the time. I'm not. And I'm going to be, completely transparent here. I built this community here because what I want to do is, in case we need to stick together, in case we need to, do something for the best interest of the Arizona Cardinals. I know I got the AZ Sports Fan family back there, right? I know we got one solo mission, and I do strongly believe that Arizona Cardinal fans band together to get Steve Keim out, right? I truly do believe that the Arizona Cardinal fans band together this last offseason to make changes. So that's one of the main reasons why I did bring this community together. And it gets me riled up because, yes, I could stand outside with the sign, right? But one person's voice doesn't make a difference. It's when everybody bands together. That's when the main difference starts, right? When Michael Bidwell's pockets get affected, that's when the changes start happening. So, yes, we might be going through a year of we don't know what's going to happen, but I appreciate you guys for being here. I truly do. What's up, AZ fan? He says, Buddha and Simmons exposed this locker room with being too lax and not being prepared. I hope the Cardinals hire Anarumo, also Cliff to Houston, right? We'll see. I mean, the last we heard was that Cliff Kingsbury is in Thailand, right? I think it's very obvious that this job is stressful. It's a very stressful job. And it not just because it's a head coaching job in the NFL, but just with the expectations of what we've been seeing. Okay, I do see a report coming here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think you might have just broke some news there, my guy. We do got some breaking news coming here from Jordan Schultz, ladies and gentlemen. We got some breaking news coming here in the world of the, I guess it's no longer the Arizona Cardinals, but let's talk about this here real quick. But yes, being an Arizona Cardinal coach, it comes with a lot of stress. I appreciate the contribution, my dude. Yes, we got let's go ahead and talk about this here real quick. I appreciate you for letting me know. Here it is. Now, I wouldn't say breaking news, but there's a new report coming out here from Jordan Schultz saying Cliff Kingsbury is in Houston today, meeting with the Texans for their open offensive coordinator position. Cliff Kingsbury has a good relationship with D'Amico Ryans as well as Nick Caserio, who he knows dating back to their time together with the Patriots at the Score. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So Cliff Kingsbury looks to be trying to find a spots with the Houston Texans. Wow. Wow. There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody who feels any hurt, any sympathy, there you go. Landing right back on his feet. Now, one thing I would say about Cliff Kingsbury, he might be a very good offensive mind. He very well might be. Head coach, different story, right? So I'm glad he's getting an opportunity. I truly, 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 truly am. I'm glad he's getting an opportunity elsewhere. But yes, we got a report coming out here from Jordan Schultz, and it says this. Cliff Kingsbury is in Houston today meeting with the Texans for their open HUD coaching position. Cliff Kingsbury has a good relationship with D'Amico Ryans and as Nick Caserio. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody feeling bad for Cliff? Looks like he's landing right back on his feet. Good for him. Good for him. Good for him. Good for him. Yeah, okay. Well, here we go. Somebody in the chat says back from Thailand. Facts. We heard it was a one-way ticket. It was probably just like a 2-week thing. It was just probably like deuces. Interesting. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting right there. Now, let me go ahead and 1 second here. All right. That is some good news for Cliff Kingsbury. Good news for Cliff Kingsbury. Good for him. Good. Let's take a look at the chat here. Cliff belongs in Houston. Somebody says breaking news. Cliff is back. No, he's not back in Phoenix. He's in Houston right now. Good for him. Let's see what the chat says. What's up, Steven? Says, no offense to Kyler's believers, but if the other tight ends and wide receivers want out like DeAndre wanting, here's the thing, right? I think this is a big storyline, and we're going to follow this so darn close. So darn close. DeAndre Hopkins did meet with Monty Osenfort, and he did say it was a good conversation. It was nothing to do with his future, he said, but he said it was a very good conversation. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with DeAndre Hopkins. I do see somebody in the chat saying, Mike, Aaron Glenn is still at play. I heard he wasn't. I heard that there's only certain amount of people that are in contention with this. And Aaron Glenn didn't make the cut. It was Brian Flores, Kafka, and Anarumo, because even Callahan was told that he didn't make the cut. I believe this was on Monday of this week. If you guys didn't know that, on Monday of this week, there was a report that came out that said there was only 3 candidates left. Flores, which obviously is no longer in contention. He ended up taking a job with the Vikings. Kafka and Anarumo. That was the report, right? But there's so many reports. There's so many reports comes out. So I don't know. Yes, for the new people come out. Yes, we did talk about this a little earlier, ladies and gentlemen. Jeremy Fowler did come out here saying that Mike Kafka was already told that he is out of the running for the Colts job. So if you guys are scared, if you guys are worried about losing Kafka or losing Anarumo, it looks like none of them are in play for a head coaching job, at least as of right now, if it's not the Cardinals, right? So if it is the Cardinals, maybe that might leave a little bit more interpretation, right? Maybe we can see some new names appear next week. I don't know, right? I don't know. I'm going to lead to believe that we will find out our next head coach by next week, and getting a first interview. I feel like it's a long shot for either Gannon, Eric Bieniemy, or Steichen. I feel like it's a long shot, but we've seen crazier things happen, right? We've seen crazier things happen. So we'll see. Obviously, we got the weekend to get through. The big game is coming our way with big game coming out here with the Super Bowl. And I see a lot of people in the chat saying Chiefs. I see some people saying the Eagles. So we'll see what happens there. Alex says, okay, so Kafka has only one. Yes, exactly. Kafka only has one real possibility. Yes, you are 100% correct on that. He only has one real possibility, and it's the Arizona Cardinals. So right now, to me, it's either going to be Kafka or Anarumo. Now, I am fully aware. So for the people in the chat that come in and say, well, what about Bieniemy? What about Gannon? What about Steichen? As of right now, I'm going to allow it to play out. If we see a report that comes out from either Shefty, or Ian Rappaport or anybody in the big national chain, then we'll talk about that. But as of right now, I'm going to allow that story to kind of just sit there dormant. I think it's either going to be Kafka or Anarumo. So we'll see. Somebody in the chat says Kafka reminds me too much of Cliff, to be honest. Okay, it's fair. It's fair. I want Eric B at OC. I love that. I think that should be a hashtag. Eric B at OC, right? I think that definitely should be a hashtag. But yeah, Eric Bieniemy, I did call well, I didn't call, but I would like to see Eric Bieniemy as the defensive coordinator. I feel like that would be really cool. I feel like that would be really, really awesome. Let's keep with the chat here. Let's see here. How do you feel about Kafka as the head coach? I mean, we talked about it a little earlier in the chat. Honestly, I think there's a lot of intrigue for both, right? I think there's a lot of intrigue for either Kafka or Anarumo. Honestly, I think it's very exciting to see either or get the option, right? Now, I'm going to support both of them fully, truly, like truly. And I know, mark your words, ladies and gentlemen, mark my words. Whoever gets hired, people are going to call it an L. Let's allow them to actually cook. Let's allow them to actually work first. And let's see what they can do, right? Just like Monty Osenfort. People already called him an L. Like, we don't know that. We don't 100% know that. Let's see what he does in free agency. Let's see what he does in the draft. Let's see who he can retain. And we'll kind of go from there, right? Now, I don't think it's going to be, GM 1 year and bust. No, I don't think that. He's definitely probably here for the long haul. And by long haul, I mean at least 3 years, 3 or 4 years. But it looks like most GMs that stay with the Cardinals, they stay here for longevity. So it's a long time, but we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. I think one of the most important things I want to see for Monty Osenfort that Keim didn't do is the fact that we need to build the trenches. We need to. Offensive line, defensive line. It needs to be very, 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 very important for Kyler Murray to stay upright. It has to be very important to build a fierce defensive line that's able to stay healthy and actually wreak havoc. Those are one of the biggest takeaways that I want to hold Monty Osenfort accountable. One of the biggest things. One of the biggest things I would love for Monty Osenfort to keep true to his word is to build that trench offensively and defensively. We need it. We need it. We need it. We need it. I know the flashy moves are wide receivers, right? I know the flashy moves are the big freak athletic guys that are able to, do this, and they could play safety, and they could also do middle linebacker, and they could do cornerback, right? I'm talking about Isaiah Simmons, obviously, right? I know it's so enticing to go that route, but I think what we need to do is we need to make sure that we build the dang trenches. Keep Kyler up, keep Kyler upright. I think it's very important. Let's see somebody in the chat says Steichen would be news, the best news to wake up to on Monday. Honestly, there's so much intrigue with Steichen. There really is. To me, he was one of my top people that I would love to replace Cliff Kingsbury. And I think this is one of the main reasons why I like the idea of Steichen. Just his persona, just of who the Eagles are. Now, I know some Eagles fans are absolutely ridiculous, right? There's some Eagles fans out there that are just, oh my God, I can't fathom to try to go to the Eagles stadium because I'm not trying to get chased down by 20 Eagles fans, heckling me, right? I'm not about that life. I probably will one day, but what we see from Eagles fans are very bad. But I like the swagger. I like what Nick Sirianni has done to that culture. I like it. And if I can get some sort of little slice of pie from that, and if it's Shane Steichen, I like it. I don't know, there's some intrigue there. Now, like the person in the chat said, that would be a best news coming Monday, right? We don't know. It is pretty weird, though. It is pretty weird that we're literally sitting 2 days away from the Super Bowl and we do not have our head coach, but we're not the only ones. The Colts, and I believe my guy Michael Evans in the chat here, and I appreciate you for always being here, Michael Evans. You're a Colts fan / Cardinals fan, so I can only imagine what you're going through, right? Like, I can only imagine what you're going through. So, like, it's wild. So we're not the only ones that are waiting. We have the Colts, right? Our best buds over there to kind of see, go through this journey together. Now, I think there was a report that came out that said by next week, I think the Colts are narrowing it down too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Somebody in the chat says, I'm unimpressed. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. Somebody in the chat says, I wouldn't want any coaches from New England. Majority of the coaches branch don't win. That's fair too. That's fair. Somebody in the chat says, my Eagles are ready for the suit. Oh, we got an Eagles fan up in the chat. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you for being here, man. Thanks so much for tuning in. Yeah, I'm curious. All I want, truly, I want to have I just want to see a good game. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see points. I want to see a nail biter. I would love to see what the Bills and the Chiefs did. Obviously, they can never be in the Super Bowl because they're both playing in the AFC. I get that, right? I get that. But what the Chiefs did and the Bills did in that playoff game, was it 2 years ago? That's what I want to see. Oh boy, that would be amazing. Literally came down to the last 2 minutes of the game, and there was 21 points scored in the last. Nuts. Absolutely pandemonium. That's what I want to see in the Super Bowl. Now, are we going to get that? Probably not. But we'll see. We'll see. Next contribution. What's up, Jason? Appreciate the contribution. He says, off topic, Mike, but I'm excited about. Oh, facts, bro. Oh, facts, dude. Dude, if you guys joined me, I should keep this on purple, right? I should keep this on purple because if you guys joined me on my last stream yesterday, and I appreciate everybody for coming through, right? A lot of people kind of tell me like, hey, Mike, you should, expand, right? Talk about the Suns. It's a good topic right now, right? Especially with the Cardinals. I think we might venture into that, coming the off season, but we'll see at this very moment, right? There's a lot of different speculations, a lot of different stuff, talking surrounding, the Cardinals in general. So I love talking about Cardinals, but we'll definitely dip our toes into it though, for sure. But yeah, this purple right here, ladies and gentlemen, is for KD to AZ. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Got somebody in the chat says Nick is getting carried by the Eagles. Sheesh. I mean, I don't know. I got no comment on that. I think Nick Sirianni is, I don't know. I don't know him personally, so I'm not gonna really kind of go with that. But today we do have Lou Anarumo, ladies and gentlemen. Now we don't really know the exact time, right? We don't know the exact time. This is said to be a situation where this might be one of those situations that like we're gonna hear next week. And I say that every single podcast, next week, and it just never freaking happens. I don't get it. But I think by next week, I'm hoping if there's no new names that kind of pop out, I'm hoping and leaning to believe that either Anarumo or Kafka is going to be the next guy. Now, if you're going to give me the option right now, hey Mike, who do you want? I think there's room for both to be excited about, right? I think it's room for both to be excited about for the possibility of either of them too, right? Either defensive mind, you go Anarumo, or you go the offensive mind, right? With Mahomes and Daniel Jones, right? That type of stuff. So I think there's a little bit of excitement for both. So we'll see. Another contribution coming from Jason says, I didn't want Mikal to go, but I understand. Oh yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Right there with you. I think most people feel the exact same way. So you're not alone, dude. You're not alone. But we are aiming championship. That's what we're aiming for right now. We're aiming for the championship. So we will see what happens here. We do see somebody in the chat here. Let's see here. Somebody said I don't like the Suns. So that's fair. Well, for the people who did join the stream yesterday, I appreciate it. I think we had over like 150 people in the yeah. So we had a lot of people talking Suns yesterday, and obviously I was joined by my guy from the Valley podcast, Gabe. Great guy. So I appreciate you guys for obviously sticking through. I'm going to be making a poll here on my community tab here pretty soon because there is going to be some months that there's going to be some dry content because there's not going to be nothing to talk about, right? We got our June through July, and I guess if you want to throw May in there as well, there's going to be a lot of not much to talk about. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's see here. As long as KD still stays healthy, honestly, sky's the limit, y'all. Sky's the limit. If KD can stay healthy, sky's the limit. That's why I kept this back to purple now. Let's see here. I want the guy who has more experience, and that is Anarumo. Anarumo has a lot of experience. That he does. That he really, really does. I'm excited, honestly. I'm excited to see what this is going to look like, right? Because Anarumo has been a coach since like the 80s, since like I was born. Like I was born in 89. I believe he started in 88 or 89. So like his career and what he's done. Now, granted, it wasn't in the NFL, right? I think he started in the NFL sometimes in the 2010s is when he started in the NFL. So he's doing a lot of college stuff, but he's now getting kind of a name for himself. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I truly am excited to see what's going to happen. I was born in 81. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people think I'm younger than I am. No, I'm 33. I'm 33. I want Lou. Honestly, I think Lou would be cool, to be honest. I think Lou would be really cool to see in the next Arizona Cardinal head coach. I mean, we saved him for last, right? We saved him. He's supposed to be interviewing today. Now, did that happen already? We don't truly know. But I think Anarumo would be really cool. And something about Anarumo gives me the vibe of BA. Now, I'm not comparing him to BA. No, I'm not. So please don't out somebody. He's not BA. I know. I get that, right? But Lou Anarumo, just the idea of nobody wanting him, right? Nobody. Now, I guess that can get turned around on me very quickly, right? Well, nobody wants him for a reason. Okay, I get that. But just the idea of somebody that wasn't a top candidate, right? But the Arizona Cardinals went out to kind of go after. Kind of like that. I kind of like that. Now, Kafka has been a little bit more, he's been a little bit more sought after for teams, because I think there was a couple other teams that reached out to Kafka and he actually had an interview. So there's some good things to kind of take away from both, right? Kafka or Anarumo. And I think it's all going to kind of come down to who the Cardinals really want. And I do think that the Arizona Cardinals literally, Montios and I guess, yeah, I'm going to say the Arizona Cardinals are the only ones that know. They're the only ones that know. So all these reports that are coming out, that's fine. You can listen to them, right? But take it with a grain of salt, right? It's a lot of predictions out there right now. What we do know right now is that there's two people that are still in play, that they had second interviews, Kafka and Anarumo. I understand next week we can very well possibly reach out to Bieniemy, Steichen, Gannon. I'm aware. We can, right? It's a possibility. But I'm going to lean heavily on what we know so far, and what we know is that they are the two candidates right now. Now, granted, none of them are head coaches as of right now, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see here. Somebody says Team Lou. Okay, I respect that. Yeah, so that's what it is right now, right? We got Lou Anarumo coming in today. I think it was Tuesday was Kafka. Wednesday was supposed to be Brian Flores, but all I got to say is peace out, Flores. If you don't want to be here, then I mean, it is what it is at this very moment. It is what it is at this very moment. Let me do a quick refresh here of the Twitter pages just to make sure I didn't miss any news to kind of, talk about here. I think for the most part, we're all pretty much caught up. We're all pretty much caught up in what's going on in the world of the Arizona Cardinals, right? Right now, it's just a waiting game, truly. Just a waiting game. Kafka is no longer in contention for the Colts, right? So that gives us a little bit more time, right? A little bit more time to possibly, take a little bit more time if that's the way the Arizona Cardinals want to take, right? The route they want to take. But yeah, being that Kafka here is still available, no longer in contention for the Colts, that's good for us. And then it doesn't seem like Brian Callahan. That would be really cool to bring Brian Callahan, though. Like, if Anarumo did come, if Callahan did come with them, that would be awesome. But I don't see, I truly don't see the Bengals allowing him to make a lateral move. But that would be sweet. Like, that would be really freaking cool to get Callahan in. Because the Colts at one point were really happy about Callahan, or at least fans were. Because I ended up bringing one of my guys from Bring the Juice podcast on here, and we were talking about Colts and Cardinals being that we're the last man standing without head coaches, and he said he really liked Callahan, but being that Callahan is no longer in contention either, it's kind of where we're at right now, right? Yes, Anarumo and Bieniemy. Oh my goodness, I like that option as well. Bieniemy and Anarumo. Woo! Let's start the hashtag right now. If we could, let's start that hashtag. What's up, Jay? Oh, Steven. Sorry, I saw JJ. My bad. What's up, Steven? Appreciate the contribution, man. He says JJ Watt retired prematurely, or he still has it. I think he still has it if he could stay healthy. This year he was able to stay healthy. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why people talk about JJ Watt, right? I think he still has it. I think he could still produce. I truly do. But can he stay healthy, right? That's the number one thing. Now, JJ Watt went through some things this year, right? Just had a kid. And I know you said you were born in 81. So if you have a kid, I just had a kid about 2 years ago, or I guess a year and a half ago, and it changes you, man. It changes your life. It changes the way you look at things. It changes the way a lot of things, right? So maybe JJ Watt's going through that, right? Maybe, having the kid, and on top of that, there was that heart thing where he to get it beat back into rhythm. So I think it's a lot more into play. I know he knows that he can actually do it still, and I know he can do it still. It's just is he able to stay healthy, right? I think that's the biggest thing. And his life has kind of went through a loop, right? It went through a loop right now. So, or this last year. So yeah. Yeah, I agree. He definitely looked great. Good player. He still has it. It's great. It's a great thing to see, to be honest with you. Let's see here. The Colts have Jeff. Well, that's the thing. I don't think Jeff Saturday has been ruled out yet. That was my prediction. I said the Colts are going to get Jeff Saturday. And the only reason why I leaned on Jeff Saturday was because of like his relationship with Jim Irsay. Like Jim Irsay he gives two craps, bro. Like be honest, Jim Irsay and he's the owner of the Colts, if you guys didn't know. He's the owner of the Colts. This man right here is just the equivalent of like that one old dude that just like comes into a party with the cane, right? And in that big coat with some chains. Like that's what I see with Jim Irsay. He gives two craps about what anybody says. And I think that's why, like, I would say that Saturday will get the job, but we don't know. We don't know. It's the only really people know is two people that are making the decision. Like that's really it, right? And the Cardinals are really the only people who are going to know who's going to be the next head coach. So we'll see. We'll see. He says, is James Betcher still a coach? Where is James Betcher at right now? Let me find out here. I didn't mind James Betcher, but like, is he still a coach? Let's find out right now. Let's take a look. See what's James Betcher doing with his life right now. Oh, he's with the Cincinnati Bengals as a linebacker coach. Oh, interesting. Dude, I forgot about James Betcher. I'm not gonna lie to you. I forgot about James Betcher. Remember, what was it Freddie Kitchens? Remember him? Yeah, geez, I forgot about him. Yeah, apparently he's with Cincinnati right now. Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right, y'all. We are nearing the hour mark, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we got a huge game coming our way, right? Some people reached out to me and said, hey, are you going to do anything for the Super Bowl? I'm going to do something outside of YouTube, though. Like, I'm going to be spending some time with family, right? Eating a lot of chicken wings, just kind of stuffing my face, right? Doing a fan thing. I'm not going to be doing anything pertaining to, on here. So most likely no content coming your way on Sunday, maybe something on Saturday. We'll see exactly what happens. But as of right now, everyone, I want to thank you, everybody that's been in this chat. I truly, truly appreciate it. If you guys haven't done already, smacking the like button. If you guys can do me a huge favor, smack that like button. I think we got over 100 people in the chat. Definitely go ahead and let's see if we can run that like button up to 100. Because believe it or not, it does actually help out the algorithm. It does help out that one lonely Arizona Cardinal fan that needs to have a community. They know where to go, right? We're on the road to 12K, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously can't do it without you guys, so definitely smack the like button. Appreciate everybody for coming through. A lot to definitely dive into. We talked a lot today, right? A lot to dive into. We clarified Sean Payton, that whole storyline. We talked about who the next head coaches could possibly be, right? We had a lot of conversation here. Here we go. Next contribution, most likely the last contribution of the day from No F's Given. What's up, man? He says, would be mad if JJ came back to play for DeMar. Bro. I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, I will be right there with you as well. I appreciate the contribution. Here we go. Another super chat. I thought that was the last one. Appreciate you, Steven, coming up clutch with the last contribution here of the day. He says, rumor I heard, but Tom Brady and Gronk, along with Sean Payton, headed to Arizona before Brady retired. And also Sean committed to Denver. This I do agree with. There was a rumor out there saying that Sean Payton was basically using the Cardinals as a negotiation piece, right? There was a rumor that came out there. Now, maybe a little blindness to myself, right? I was so blinded to the fact of the idea of possibly landing Sean Payton that I allowed myself to get to a level that I might have gotten people excited, and I apologize about that. But I do agree that it might have been the Broncos the whole time. And I'm not gonna say I called it, but kind of did. But yeah, it sucks. It sucks. But Tom Brady, I mean, we'll see what happens with Tom Brady. Truly, we'll see what happens there. I appreciate the contributions. I truly do. Thank you, everybody who's already joined in. We are going to be closing shop here right now. Smack the like button if you guys truly enjoy this content. If you guys did like the Suns content and want to see more, let me know in the chat here or comment on the video here below. Let me know in the community tab, at me on Twitter. Everything is going to be here in the bottom right. You have my Twitter, you have my Instagram. Follow me on all my social platforms. That's really the best way to communicate with me because the YouTube comments are actually really crappy. I don't get any notifications from any of it unless people tag me, but people don't know to tag me. So it is what it is, right? So definitely follow me on all my social platforms. That's the best way to communicate with me. Send me a DM, at me on Twitter, whatever you want to do. Appreciate everybody for coming through. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to everybody. Thank you as always. Smack the like button on your way out. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cards.